I play Rydal Keener in Two Faces of January, and I guess from my point of view, the story starts with my character Rydal Keener being in Athens, and he's an American abroad, expat basically. He's been living abroad for a couple years, and in that kind of great Patricia Highsmith way, he's someone that's in search of an identity, and you know, looking for not only inspiration but just a sense of self, and I think when he meets Chester and Colette, he finds he finds it a real titillating adventure. There's an element of it, as far as my character is concerned, of a coming-of-age story, you know, of becoming a man and what that means and what kind of man he's going to be, and his sense of justice and his sense of morality or amorality. You know, I think all those things are kind of spinning around, and this particular couple just really makes all that come to a head. Haas, I mean, he had written Drive, and he and I had a really good working relationship, just kind of figuring out the character that I played, and you know, coming up with suggestions, and worked very closely on that. And it was such a good experience that when this opportunity came around, he gave me a call and sent me the script and asked me to be in it. When first reading the script, what jumps out is this story that's just like, has such propulsion and really moves and intriguing and layered. And then as we started to, all three of us, as we started to really investigate the characters and work on the scenes, we realized that that the complexity of what was there, that on first read or even second or third or fourth read, doesn't necessarily jump out as far as the characters in particular. But I think there's something intuitively that we all knew, because, you know, as soon as I read it, I was like, I would love to be in this, because movies like this aren't really made anymore. I mean, such a classic film, psychological thrillers like this. It starts with Haas's spirit of collaboration. He's so interested in what our thoughts are and what our ideas are from the get-go. I mean, even before we started, it was about 2 months before we actually started. He flew out to New York, and we worked for about 5 days in my apartment in Brooklyn, and just like went through the script and thought of ideas and came up with different scenarios. And this was before flying, you know, to rehearse, where we did that again for another week with the three of us just kind of talking about it and coming up with different ideas. And so for him, I think he really thrives on that and loves that, and just loves actors so much. He knows how to get what he wants, and he does have you know, he's looking at everything incredibly closely, and so that creates a lot of trust. And so when you have that amount of trust, you can kind of go in and try things and not be afraid to fail. And the three of us also, because of Haas's leadership in that particular area, like, we all just really were able to trust each other and be honest with each other and try things and not be afraid to look stupid. Viggo's case, what's really fascinating about him is his precision. You know, he's incredibly precise, and has just this laser focus, and yet at the same time is incredibly goofy. And I don't know if it changes for every role, but for this one in particular, in between takes and beforehand, you know, the importance of being light and being alive and loose. I think that for me was really interesting to see that juxtaposition between this kind of precision and laser focus, and then also this need to be kind of irreverent and subversive with the material and with the character, and when you see it on screen, it just really translates. And with Kirsten, I think she's a tremendous actor. I find her to be just, again, someone that works their butt off. Every once in a while, you know, she'd have her script, and I would kind of just sneak a peek, and just be tons of notes everywhere. And so she does so much work, and yet at the same time, is able to hide that so well, because what she does is so spontaneous and not planned and not premeditated and just in the moment. And yet there's been a huge foundation that she's created for her character, and has a real solid idea of where her choices kind of come from. It can be a dark film. There's very dark moments and emotional and high drama in it, and yet the whole process has been incredibly joyful. For me, even initially in doing the movie, apart from the fantastic story and the people who were working on it, was the locations we were going to get to shoot at. Unusual places, none of which I had been to other than London. But that was so exciting, and such a neat thing to be able to film inside the Parthenon, which has been closed for decades now, and the ruins of Knossos, the actual ones. I think that was our first day, was in the ruins of Knossos, and then being in Turkey, in the Gran Bazar, having the entire Gran Bazar shut down. I mean, we happened to be there. They timed it out so well that there was a holiday, and so we got to just roam around this giant bazaar when it was all quiet and silent. All those things just added to the mystery and the excitement of the process. Wardrobe and the hairstyles, I mean, it's just a completely immersive experience. And then to be in those actual places, some of which have not changed all that much, and the way that the light looks and everything about those places, I think that the movie wouldn't be half of what it is had we not been able to shoot in those locations. Haas, in particular, was more interested in kind of a Great Gatsby version of the story, where he is someone, and casting Viggo, someone that is just, you see him and he just oozes integrity, and so you want to believe in him, you want to take care of him if you think he's in trouble. And I think the same thing with Kirsten. It's someone that's so lacking in vanity, and yet so very striking and charismatic and beautiful, and so I think just that the casting of that is so smart. It's psychological without being psychiatric, I guess. It's not about some sort of mental kind of stigma that they have or something. They're behaving in very real, authentic human ways, in ways that we recognize for reasons that we understand. But they are in incredibly heightened situations. And I think for the three of us, that was very important. For Haas, the four of us, with Haas, is to always try to make it relatable in that way. I think what I particularly enjoy about the look of the film is that it's not overly self-conscious. It's not screaming "look at me" in that way. Every moment isn't about trying to convince you that you're watching a period film, or it's the '60s. It's the '60s. It's the '60s. There's a subtlety to a lot of it, and that has history to it, because not everyone dresses like they are in 1962. Some people dress like they're a little, they're kind of thinking ahead a bit. Some people are still stuck in the 50s. And I think that the nuance of the costumes in particular are really interesting. But it is such a great style. It's been such even better than I could have imagined. The things that I've learned working on it, the things that we got to explore, really living out this story with these two people, these three strangers that come together and have these very intimate moments, and then it's gone suddenly. It kind of reflects what it's really like to make this movie, which is all these people come together in this very intimate way in these fantastic locations, and then it's gone.